Your guy, Knicks. Week 1 is in the books. Week 1 is in the books. Tonight could be a little spicy. I think some of us on this show might try to bring a little bit of levity to the situation. Somebody might throw some fuel on that flame. We'll kind of get into it. Outside of that, hope everybody's weekend was good. Hope everybody's tuning in right now, coming on in. What's going on, y'all? I see Mark's in the building. What's going on, Mr. Cancer? Mendoza, what's good? Maurice Edmonds is in the building. Martin Eves is in the building. What's good? What's good? Give it a like, give it a share, build it up here real quick. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, Mark, it's going to be, we're going to have a good time tonight, man. There's a lot of what we thought was going to happen. Maybe so. Maybe what we thought was going to happen didn't. And some in-betweens. Illinois is in the building as well. What's going on, Jody? Thank you for tuning in as always. All right. So let's go ahead. Let's rip the Band-Aid off, y'all. Let's rip it on off. We went to SoFi out there in LA, and bada bing, bada boom, 2017. Not quite the SEO that we've been preaching all off season. Scorched earth offense, 40 burgers, if you will. Down the line, real quick, Spoon. Listen to that part, real quick. Quick overview. We're going to break some of this down. Just quick overview. Just a quick couple of thoughts of what y'all thought, Spoon.
I'm happy about the potential of the offense. It's their first game. To me, it was like a preseason, so I'm cool with that. CeeDee Lamb looked like he belonged where he belonged at, and we all know he's going to get even better. Can't wait for that. Michael Gallup's growth. He did a right job against Jalen Ramsey, who was considered like one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
And overall, we didn't really shy away from Ramsey no matter who was there. Kind of had him a lot, but we'll kind of take some of that. Mary, real quickly, overview from the game. Just a couple of quick thoughts before we break it down.
Zeke Elliott. He did his thing. I don't know if y'all saw my tweet. I'm a little bit Twitter famous now. I might start acting Hollywood, but.
Maybe.
I tweeted about, where is it? I tweeted about Zeke on that play or whatever. Got reshared a lot. But yeah, Zeke was amazing. We see Gallup continuing to do well. CeeDee Lamb looked good. So yeah, I agree with Spoonie that I think we're headed in the right direction as far as our weapons go. And our defense has started slow like we expected. So.
Right. Man, we preached that a lot going into the season that this defense will be a little bit better second half than first half. I think for me, the one big takeaway, quick view before we kind of break down some of these things is, man, guys are just – this is why preseason matters. These guys were playing ready to just go hit somebody in a different jersey. You saw that a lot. I never, offensively or defensively, I never thought anybody got all the way completely into their groove. That's why preseason matters, man. I think that was the biggest takeaway for me on a lot of that. But with that being said, the score obviously was 14-13 at the half, ended up being 2017. Dak 25 of 39 for 266, 1 touchdown. Zeke, as we were just talking about, 22 carries, 96 yards, 4.4 average and a touchdown, and that sweet, sweet catch and move. 3 catches, 31 yards for another touchdown. Prescott, 3 for 30. Tony Pollard, 2 for 10. Amari getting him a 10. Not so 10 sack of catches there for 81 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 59. Gallup, 3 for 50. Probably should have been
90.
Closer to about 90, 95 maybe. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Pollard, 2 for 22. Blake. Oh, Jaw season couldn't even get started. Y'all, I'm sick to my stomach. I know Cowboys Nation is too. How many of y'all raise your hand real quick? I couldn't cut him from my fantasy teams, but I put him on IR. Salute to my guy Blake. I had to put him on IR. 1 catch for 12 and Dalton Schultz. We'll talk about this guy. 1 for 11, a couple of and 1 key drop for sure. Defensively, here's what sticks out to me. Darian Thompson, 9 tackles, 1 assist. Oh man, that's deep. That's a lot of action after the first 2 levels. Xavier Woods, 6 tackles, 3 assists. You see what I'm getting at here, people? We're talking about our safeties. Top Two of the top three guys with tackles. Alden Smith obviously popping off all over the building. Anthony Brown 5-1. We did get a sack from Mr. Alden Smith and a good hit. And Cheeto with the interception off the hit, off the tip pass. We got CeeDee Lamb 1 punt return for 20 yards. Not quite sure when he get a chance for that second one. Some we'll talk about as well. Greg DeLeg 1 for 2. Missed a 53-yarder and then obviously didn't get a chance to kick a game time. We'll have to break that down too. Chris Jones doing Chris Jones things. 4 for 156. Average 39. 2 inside the 20 though. 2 inside the 20. Rams side, I mean, hey, Jared Goff 20. I mean, it's going to look not really spectacular, but again, we're going to kind of talk about how he's able to do this thing. 20 for 31, 275 and interception. Malcolm Brown, though, 18 for 79, 2 touchdowns. Now look at these run numbers. Cam Akers, 14 for 39. Jared Goff, 4 for 14. Robert Woods, 1 for 14. Definitely some issues. And then, of course, Robert Woods, 6 for 105 out catching the rock. Everybody's kind of worried about Cub. I kept telling people, man, Woods is a beast. Tyler Higbee didn't kill us. 3 for 40. Not great, but he didn't just kill us. But with that being said, this defense, my biggest surprise here was we just didn't go challenge the cornerbacks. We heard all this. We're getting big guys. We're going to be pressed up. I didn't see it. Did y'all see it? Did I miss it? Mary, were you
mean
surprised?
The corners not playing enough press and man?
Right.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They didn't challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about that with my husband during the game. They were too far off the ball a lot of the time. So, they didn't challenge them a lot at all. They gave them way too much space. I saw a tweet about it actually, and they were talking about how much space they had, and it was like 4 or 5 of separation, and it's like that can't happen again.
Right. I mean, especially early on, as there were, dink and dunks. Actually, and I looked it up, 4.3. That was the average flight of ball for Goff, which was last. Yeah, it was last among quarterbacks this week in the NFL.
He was just
coming out quick,
dumping it off, and the yards after the catch is where a lot of his passing yards came from.
Right, Spoon. The cornerback. We were told all offseason, these corners, big corners, we're going to be up, we're going to press, and then week 1.
They played off. They played off, but it's it's a lot of things that we thought this team would do that it didn't show the first week. But I give props to Diggs. I like what I saw from Diggs at corner at 70 game. I know it was a play with Van Jefferson, and if anybody, to me, that even though I don't remember if he caught the ball now, but what I love about that play was, remember how we always saying how Diggs becomes a wide receiver when the ball's in the air. When he's running stride for stride with Van Jefferson and the ball's in the air, you see him just turn around and just jump forward. Right. Even though it's out of reach, you see that receiver skill when the ball's in the air, and that to me made me feel happy about him going toward the for the future for this team. So, but
there's definitely bright spots. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here, right? There's definitely some bright spots and things that happen. Again, another thing for me, and I'm going to talk about the defense before we get to the offense. We're talking about the cornerbacks playing off some. The other thing for me that I didn't really care for, I get it. We got this rotation of guys on this line, and we've talked about how deep we are. Man, we got to let these guys kind of stay a little bit longer and find some traction. I definitely saw Tristan Hill make like a couple of really good plays, and then boom, he's out. The rotation was like a little much. I'm like, okay, well, to me, it seems like we wasn't even getting comfortable with the scheme to do something here. And there's a lot of rotation, something I didn't like personally. What did y'all think about the rotation on the defensive line?
I do agree that I think they probably rotated a little much. But I also think, like we said, new coaching staff and no preseason games. They're trying to see what they got, against actual competition, because obviously they saw them in practice up against our own guys. But I think, they were kind of experimenting with things. And the problem is that after the experiment and too much switching out wasn't working, they should have stopped it, but they didn't. So I get why they would start it that way, but they could have made some adjustments. Because one thing we did say when we were talking about the preview for this game was they have to get to Goff. They have to really get some pressure on them. And they made it that much harder on themselves, not giving guys enough time to get acclimated.
Right.
And we see what happened. He was getting rid of that ball fast, and then we're sitting there letting them get all these yards after the catch.
And boy, and these bootlegs and everything else, and the backside linebacker, Jalen Smith, running around, throwing the screen right over his head. Spoon, what do you think about the rotation of the D-line and some of the outside edge players?
It was a bit too much for me. But the one guy that stood out for me, the guy I picked for defensive, the best defensive player on this team was Aldon Smith. He held his own, did great things. He had his first sack, 10 tackles, and it was bright. He batted the ball down just as much as Everson Griffin. He did the same thing. But the rotation was a little bit too much. It did hurt us in the run. Stop the run. Yeah. So
from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you watched it again. It looks like Hill was doing pretty well against the run, and then Poe looked kind of slow.
Poe looked a little sluggish.
Tyrone Crawford, he was getting beat.
Crawford was just getting washed. Let's call. Hey, look. And I love Crawford. Let's just call a spade. Crawford was just getting washed big time.
Yeah, and so once you see that, and you see that the young guy is holding his own, keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? I get that they're veterans, and you wanna rotate them in and out. But once you saw that they weren't ready, then just put Hill back in, because Dontari Poe. I mean, he didn't. Everybody had a shortened off season, but he had even more of a shortened off season. So I mean, he might not have his legs up under him yet. Hopefully, he gets better. But yeah, I mean, once they saw that Tristan was holding his own there, and I actually don't even remember what Woods did, but once they saw Tristan holding his own
Woods was fullback and the lead blocker who got Donald for Zeke to score. That's what Woods did.
When I saw that, I was like, wow, I love seeing stuff like that, because
Woods wasn't terrible. I mean, he had moments, but again, whenever you're not able to settle in, it's just kind of hard. And I pounded the table about this all during the offseason. Like, man, I hate not having preseason. And for every single person that's been on this show and said, hey, let's get preseason out and everything, this is the kind of results that you're going to get sometimes. Because even with all that being said about this defense, from the 5-minute mark, basically in the third quarter on, they didn't give up another point. And you held it with 20 points still. So, I mean, there's a lot to be had and a lot of things that can happen here. I saw the dirt being thrown on D-Law's name again. I'm like, here we go again, week 1. I mean, the Cowboys having before pressures, but at the end of the day, you couldn't get. Whenever you're doing a 2-step drop or basically the ball snapped to you and I'm just slinging it. I mean, just not really much way anybody's going to be able to get that kind of pressure that we're looking for, which is why we're sitting here talking now about these corners on the outside. Should have came up, maybe showed a little too much respect to Coop and Woods, and then come up and challenge them to see. But when you don't have a safety over the top and you're not too comfortable with, you feel like you got to play back a little bit. That's something we'll talk about later, Spoon. Don't worry. I'm definitely going to give you your time for that. But now let's flip to the offensive side of the ball. Tell the two halves, right? Started a little slow. And look, and shout out to them. It wasn't just the fact that they were scoring in the first half. Time of possession. I don't care what kind of offense you got. They were playing to keep us off the field. And it worked even though we got rolling in the second quarter. I mean, they had 23 or 24 plays, and we'd only run 6 in that first quarter, right? So with that being said, but the Cowboys got it rolling. In the first half, you threw the ball on first down about 63% of the time. You scored 14 points. You got to the second half, and then you flipped the script, ran the ball about 63% of the time on first down, and you only scored 3. My goodness. Now, on top of, now some of that maybe because you're feeling like you got to try to help this offensive line. Man, we talked about this in the pregame, and we talked about how Donald's not really had a great game against us. And I said, man, do not knock on this man's door. Eventually, he's coming through. And guess what? He came through. When he took Zeke, when he came through after Connor and Zeke, and he took Zeke with one hand and just kind of choke slam, body slam, or whatever. I'm like, oh my God. And to be honest, still wasn't that bad until the very last drive. He wasn't great. But he wasn't that bad to the very last drive, and Polite got about 3 really good rushes off that edge on him to kind of, seal the game for them on that side. But even with the offense on the way it played, to me, it just looks like, hey, you can't pass the ball on first down. We would have been in a better situation. What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think most of us as fans wanted to see some differences in some of the things they called and went for. I mean, they didn't really do much pre-snap motion. They didn't do any like misdirection, no play action, no RPO. Zeke was a threat clearly during that game. You know, he scored the 2 touchdowns we had. So it would have been a perfect time to, you know, if you want to keep him involved, to do some of those things. And, you know, maybe Dak, yeah, just like he said, Dak using his legs more, things like that. You know, we have a QB that can run, that's strong, that can make the throws on the run. So use him more in those ways. And they didn't, you know, and I think that hurt them definitely.
Spoonie?
Well, I thought in the beginning it was an episode of Scooby Doo where we find the person who's doing all the robberies, and we took off the mask, and I thought it was Jason Garrett calling the plays. It wasn't creative enough. It reminded me of the nightmares of the play call we suffered last season, going back to Week 4 against the Saints. It just looked too plain. We could have gotten it. We could have won the game, but we didn't. But again, we wasn't too creative enough to get the job done, in my opinion, offensively. So we'll see what happens if there's any changes with the play calls or whatever going down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like we said, I mean, for them to only score 20 points with the way our defense struggled, I mean, like we said before, our offense was going to have to help with some slack. So if your defense can hold somebody, and, you know, the Rams have some offensive firepower, if they can hold a team like that in their new stadium to 20 points, then this offense just has to do better. Like, there's no way with that roster. I get the O-line was struggling, but like I said, I think there were things they could have done that would have alleviated some of that stress on the O-line.
Right. And I mean, and at the end of the day, I mean, Zeke graded out as the number 1 running back this week in the NFL, and Dak actually graded out as number 5, even with all that going on around them and things that were going on. Obviously, 2 big losses on both sides of the ball. You know, losing Jarwin, and obviously that kind of cost us a little bit later. We ended up, once again, you know, we talked about this last season with drop passes. We're tied for second in the league right now with 3 or 4 drop passes this week. Schultz with the big one. Schultz with the big one in the red zone for sure that put us behind the chains. So obviously they're going to handle that in-house. We're going to get to the injury report here in a second to kind of touch on that. You know, I went back and look, and I challenge everybody that's here. If you haven't went back and watched the game a second time, without the beer, without the wings, without the it's week 1, go back and watch it. I went back and watched it, and I made it a point. I wanted to do it today, early this morning, and I went back and watched it early this morning. Just no cut ups, no nothing, just straight through. And there's, again, I'm going to keep hammering home for now. It's the lack of preseason. I could tell, man, they were just playing with their hair on fire a little bit and trying to do a little too much and just not finding and settling in yet with this coaching staff and things that were going on. And it was different. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only one player that didn't touch the field off the whole roster, and that happened to be Brandon Carr. That just wasn't sure about him. Every single player on this lineup played. What does that sound like? Preseason.
Yeah, it sounds like they were experimenting and trying to see what these people do against real competition, and so now they know.
Yeah, and now we need
to get cursed out in meetings. They know now. So
right, you know. So I went back and watched it. I came away with a little bit better taste in my mouth after watching it the second time. I implore anyone, if they get a chance to, if you had it on DVR or you got the all 22 or whatever the case, go back and watch it again and drop your comments and see what you thought after watching it a second time. But with that being said, over to the injury report. Now a little less. Cam Irvin got a little banged up on one, right? On top of that, though, the big one, Jaws is gone, out of there. He's non-contact, ACL done for the year, unfortunately. And then, of course, on defense, starting to sound like a broken record, guys, with this gentleman, this young man, and LVE. It's the neck. Okay, now it's not the neck. Now it's the collarbone. Obviously, he has a chance to come back. He had surgery this morning to replace it. It was a clean break. Yeah. Okay, was a clean break. He's having surgery. Typically, once you have that surgery, it doesn't break again. They put the plate in. Is it something we can overcome at the tight end position? Do you? And let me pivot because we know what they're saying right now. Let's the Cowboys Nation know they're not bringing nobody in. They want to fix this in-house at the tight end position. All right, they're bringing up Cole, obviously from the practice squad. They're not bringing anybody else in. Do y'all think this is something they can ride with? But the way it's set right now, at tight end, or do we need to go do something else, Mary?
My Monday morning thoughts was let's bring somebody else in because, I talked so much crap about Dalton Schultz all off season, even last season. I talked so much crap about him. Before the season started, they were saying he was having pretty good camp, but then the game comes and he does what he's been doing. And I remember why I was so hard on him. It's like he's still not ready. So my initial thought on Monday morning was panic. We need a tight end. Today, I rethought it. And I mean, they kept this Sean McKeon guy for a reason. We all thought when we were going through the early predictions of the roster that only 3 tight ends were going to make the roster. They kept him for a reason. And, a lot of these top tight ends in the league, including Kittle, and Kelsey, they are late round draft picks, 5th round, 3rd round. I mean, so, we got to just see what we have, in my opinion. I feel like Dalton's not it, but let's see what these other young guys have because they could be a diamond in the rough just sitting there waiting on their moment.
True.
And, honestly, Delaney Walker, he's always injured, he's old. And all he's going to do is do what we were mad at Witten for doing, which was showing up, taking starter reps from somebody that could be learning.
Right.
So I don't think it's worth it. And, anybody else we would have to trade for. And, I would rather see what we have.
And at the end of the day, let me stop Cowboys Nation on this because the first thing I see from everybody, they run up and down, go trade for O.J. Howard. Go trade for O.J. Howard. Be clear. He had the second most targets in the Tampa Bay game. He's not available, guys. I'm telling you now. He had 6 targets yesterday. The only guy that had more targets than him was Goodwin. He's not available. Now, some people saying dip underneath on Cameron Brate. He had a lot of reps too. With Tom Brady in this offense, they're going to use all 3 of those guys. I don't think there's going to be anyone you can poach from there. For me, I was thinking Delaney Walker early on, and I was like, man, out of the last 32 games, he's only played 8, and he's 36. Like, he's just going to come in here, play a game or 2 and be hurt. The only guy for me that I would like to see come in, if they're going to go the vet route, is Clay, former Miami Dolphin and Buffalo Bill tight end. He's only 31. He's got some athletic ability to him. Obviously they're going to play this out a little bit, and maybe we see something out of the undrafted guy. I mean, the undrafted guy came here, showed, proved, and earned his spot. So I'm with you on that, Mary. Let's see what the kids got. And look, it's not like Clay or these guys are going anywhere right now. It's not like if you have to go do something, you can. And I mean, if a tight end is going to make or break us in a win or loss, we might be in a bad situation anyway. Spoonie, the tight end situation, what are you looking for? Well, Spoonie's not happy, ladies and gentlemen, period. I'm telling you now.
No, I'm not. I haven't smiled at all. Listen, I'm smiling. It's good to see everybody. Here's my thoughts on the tight end position. End of the day, Miss Mary here has been saying we can't have Schultz. Schultz came in for Blake Jarwin. What happened? He dropped the pass, a first down. A key first down that we could have tried to get scored. These are the same guys that were talking about Jason Witten not be able to prepare. I understand why. I see why. You don't deserve it. For me, it's best for this team to go out there and make a trade for a tight end. In my opinion, there's nothing out there in free agency that's going to help but give it a retirement check. All right. As far as the roster right now, I don't feel good about McKeon from Michigan, even though he basically was a blocker. It's the same kind of thing that shows that within Stanford. These guys were not they have no game tape of playing tight end, catching balls like a regular star tight end, like that potential. Basically, they came in just doing blocking, and occasions when asked to, they receive. Blake Bell. We don't know anything about Blake Bell. All we know is the play he did with Kansas State. So right now we have no experience at the tight end position. That's scary. A guy like Cameron Brate will be the guy I choose only because the last game he when they put out the snap count, he only played 10% of the snaps. It was basically between OJ Howard and Gronkowski. Cameron Brate is on a contract that I'm sure the Buccaneers would love to get out of. It's like 3 more years. He's 29, but he's very doable and way better insurance than what we have on the roster right now. But of course, we're gonna stay from within, and let's see what happens. But Mr. Schultz, understand one thing. Jason Wayne took a lot of the snaps last year, but none of y'all can hold his jock. None of y'all.
I mean, to be clear, Jason Witten wasn't good last year. So I think a lot of his playing time stemmed from Jason Garrett being the head coach. He wasn't good last year at all. He wasn't good at blocking. He wasn't good at holding on to the ball. He was slower than ever. He was starting by virtue of him being friends with the head coach and him having earned from other years past.
Right.
Because there's no reason he should have been taking more snaps than Jarwin. None.
Schultz,
I agree. Schultz, I will 100% agree with, but not Jarwin. Jarwin should have been getting the bulk of those snaps from
100%.
Right. And I mean, I see a lot of people in here talking about Brayton, whatever, and I saw someone say, well, Brayton played about 10% of the snaps. For a third tight end to play about 10% in that offense, and you're looking at Gronk, who has an injury history and whatnot, I just don't think Brayton's going to be available for you to go pluck him away. Cole, don't let me ask to say how his last name starts with an H. Obviously, that's the other tight end that we have on this roster as well, too. I'm sure he'll be protected from the practice squad. He might be called up on Sunday as well for the noon game. Now, on the other side, and by the way, Jason, we did have a catch for 2 yards, by the way, for the Las Vegas Raiders. 1 catch, 2 yards. So he caught the ball and fell forward. We knew how that goes.
As usual.
Shout out to Witt. Go Jack and Witt. Appreciate you, brother, everything you do for Cowboys Nation. But with that being said, LVE now, linebacker-wise, we know Bernard was going to get the call up, but he didn't get the call up because we went ahead and signed somebody off the practice squad of the Bears. We signed, what's his name real quick?
Rashad
Smith. There you go. So we signed somebody off. Obviously, they have to come to the main roster. And with that, though, they are protecting the way you can kind of protect so many players on your practice squad. Bernard will be called up on game day and be on the roster. So looks like they're going to try to do that within as well, right? They're going to do that a little bit as well. Hikutini, thank you for spelling it out, Mendoza, the way I can actually pronounce it. Let me put that on the screen real quick. Hikutini. So, but Bernard's going to get a chance to shine, right? That's what we think.
I mean, eventually, but not this week, I guess.
Okay, so Tom? We're going Tom. So Thomas and Jalen there, because that's what we came out in. We came out in the 2 linebackers, 3 Bs, 3 cornerbacks. We'll have Jones and Smith starting there.
And by the way, Smith was terrible on Sunday. Oh God, what was he doing? I don't understand. Why was he was so confused. He was so bad. He was bad.
Yeah, I mean, he just, again, especially watching the second time, he was just so anxious to go make a play. Wherever the ball looked like it was going, Jalen was going 100 million miles an hour. And they were just consistently using that. And, and I saw that some, not to pile on D-Law some, and some of the and I saw this Everson Griffin as well, not staying home on the edges. They were crashing down the line, and they were just going out the back door around them on the little flat passes and stuff. They just wasn't staying home. I mean, it wasn't just Jalen, but man, Jalen was, for sure. He's definitely got to sit home and not bite on the fake and whatnot so much.
Off the screen and not in a good way.
Literally.
And I've been a huge supporter of his, but it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Because we talked about guys, Spoonie, Mary. Hey, they're moving him back to his natural position, right, Spoon? Hey, Nolan is a linebacker guru. That's what that's where he hangs his head at. He's going to have these linebackers balling. We were ready for that. No preseason, nothing like that. Hair on fire, running around crazy, and whoop, and there they went, right? So, Linebacker position, Spooty moving forward. Everything in the house. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah. You know what? Props to Joe Thomas holding it down. He held it down once LVE went down. But again, another position that we talked about during the offseason that we was fear if LVE went down, and it happened. That's a position that we felt that kept on saying Alex Ogletree, somebody with experience, or even Malcolm Smith, who signed with somebody else. These are the things that we talked about earlier before that happened. Tight end, linebacker, and what happened first week?
Yeah,
we are thin in those areas. So listen, I'm a Francis Bernard fan. I would love to see what he can do going forward with this team. Props to that, but it's going to be scary because right now, we don't get Sean Lee back for another 2 weeks. What shape is he going to be in? We don't know. So it's gonna be telling. Hopefully, I just hope that with this team, they're saying they want to get from within, but hopefully they have a plan B in case it doesn't work out next week.
I mean, I understand Spoonie's disappointment and some other fans' disappointment and them not immediately going out and getting some vet guys. But, like you said before, BJ, a lot of these guys, they're there now and they're going to be there. They're going to be there. They're going to be available. So, if there's another disaster this week, those guys will still be there.
And be clear, this game wasn't a disaster, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it wasn't a full disaster.
Yeah, it wasn't a full disaster. I mean,
I would be here with my head on fire, with a blood vessel about to pop. Like, I can understand disappointment, but I mean, I think for a loss, this is not as bad of a loss as could have been based on some of the things we saw. I like what Gregory Davis said about, what he got from the game. There was no turnovers. The receiving core is as advertised. They are very good. Zeke and Pollard, were very good. Dak, he was very efficient and did what he was asked to do. Diggs and Cheeto, Diggs in his first NFL game was very impressive.
Yeah. I was in the Cowboys chat, and so we were just talking, and I was like, man, I'll tell you what, from the limited snaps, Diggs looks like he's going to be a stud.
Yeah. And Cheeto, I mean, he caught a ball and he held on to it. He held on to it. Like, tiny victories.
Food is not going to smile at all tonight, y'all.
When he has his minute to speak, he is going to, all kind of curse words going to be thrown out.
And then obviously, and look, and I'm going to backtrack here just a minute. I know we're talking about injury report and roster news. A couple of things on the special teams, though, guys. Real quick. He missed a 53-yard field goal. Okay, fair enough. He didn't get an opportunity on that to kick the tying one. I want to ask this question first. Yes or no? Were you okay with them not kicking the field goal?
100%. I was okay with that.
Spoony, were you okay with them not kicking the field goal?
Yeah, I was. A long time ago, we was all getting mad at Garrett for being too conservative. I like the approach Mike McCarthy put out there, be aggressive and trying to get it. And it was a good play call. First of all, on the route, I did look at that again, and Schultz actually didn't run the right route.
Well, actually, no, I take that back. He was supposed to be the pick.
Right.
He just had to get. He needed to get a yard. He needed to get another step up. Yeah, is what it was.
And he messed up, and that's why CeeDee Lamb route didn't go deep enough, and that's why we were stopped. But I like the aggressiveness for Mike.
And McCarthy. I will say too. And I will say this on that play too, Spoon. And the breakdown is, if you go back and watch it, the Rams changed it. If you look, when they lined up and they were stacked,
right?
They changed it, and the guy that they thought that was going to be on Lamb actually dropped back, and the safety went over the top. Right. They called it. Yeah, so I mean, at a certain point, you do have to tip the cap and say, "Hey, man, the Rams on that one, man, they made a good play, man."
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Swanee.
No, I was gonna say, great play by safety.
Uh-oh.
Number two. All right, number two. So Lamb gets a 20-yard return, right? Okay. Game's on the line, and we go with Cedric Wilson instead of Lamb. Did you like that, or were you okay there?
Okay, so back to the fourth down play. I'm completely okay with the call. I did not like the play call. I didn't like.
I like the rub because we don't use rubs. I like the fact but I understand your point.
I like
though.
to go with Old Faithful. You got Zeke was averaging 4.4 roughly.
Right.
Dak is Dak, and we know he can handle that.
Yeah.
Every time he runs, he gets at least 5 or 6 yards.
Right.
So we know he can stretch and get that extra. I think it would have been successful if they would have went with that route for Dak. But I'm not mad at all at the call. I think people are mad because it didn't work.
Yeah, there you go.
Like he said, we were always complaining about Garrett not going for it and being too conservative and not playing to win. We played to win, and it just didn't work out this time. It's all good. As far as Cedric Wilson goes, Lamb should have been out there.
Right. And also on that fourth down play, here's the thing. Here's where we're different a little bit, Mary. I wasn't mad at the fourth down play. It was 3rd and 6. If it was in your mind you were going for it, then you don't run Zeke on 3rd and 6. I want 2 pass plays.
Agree with that.
I want 2 pass plays. Or give me the pass play first. And if we're in that 2 to 1 yard situation, okay, now I can set something up with the read option with Zeke and Dak, or I can give it to Zeke and let's go get these 2 yards or something. I didn't like the 3rd down call. I was completely fine with the 4th down call. I did not like the 3rd down call, though, unfortunately.
That's fair.
A little too cute there. Spoonie. As Greg Salzman was really saying, tell us Spoonie talking about the safety making a great play. On the back door there on the punt return, though. Lamb, we get a little too cute. Like, okay, we trying to save Lamb for this last job. Like, don't you put your best playmaker out there? He's already got 1 for 20. Let's put him back there again.
No, I was cool with it. I understood it because they wanted to reserve Lamb for the last play. We didn't want Lamb to get nicked up a little bit. Take a play off. When you want to win the game, you want to reserve your best guys. And they had about 2 timeouts. So I definitely they had no timeouts, it'd be a different thing. But because they had timeouts, I think it was the right call. Reserve your best guys because Ramsey's only 1 corner. I would have loved to go. I would have loved to see the other route that Lamb took and Cooper took. But Lamb the most, I think Lamb could have stretched the field much better than Gallup, in my opinion. But, hey, Gallup beat Ramsey, in our opinion. We saw this tape on that, and we could have won the game.
Right. So, again, preseason style game. The one thing we talked about, guys, the honeymoon phase. And officially, I guess we can say the honeymoon phase is over because as soon as that game was over, different coaching staff, same stuff, the roster soft, get rid of D-Law, do this, do that. I said, oh, well, there it is. Honeymoon officially over.
Yeah, I think there's some overreaction.
Little knee jerk. We've been waiting for so long. It's a little knee jerk. There's some knee jerking going on out there. But with that being said, that does bring us to week 2, where we can get it right at home with our fans in the building at AT&T Stadium. And here we go. The Falcons coming off of an L, beating Seattle, went over to ATL, beat them. Now, they had a 3-headed monster over there, over 100 yards. Each receiver is over 100 yards, multiple touchdowns and whatnot. Now, with that being said, when it comes to ATL, a lot of that was in garbage time, though, to be clear. Like, Seattle got way up and kind of dropped that coverage a little bit and whatnot, and they kind of ate up a little yardage in that time there. But still, 3 very capable. We know Julio. We know Ridley. They got the other young buck over there that played good. Todd Gurley early on was playing well. I mean, at one point, it was like 7 carries, 51 yards and a touchdown. Looking, maybe the knees aren't so bad anymore, right? We know defensively they got some people over there. Hey, I'll tell you what. Now, remember there was a guy that we wanted to draft that they ended up taking right before, traded up and took before us. So Tat McKinley. Tat McKinley in that game the whole time was a problem. He had some very good snaps and looked very good against Seattle. So that's put an asterisk by Mr. McKinley's name over there. Plus they have Deion Jones, the middle linebacker, who's rangy, can cover some people. Spoon, you brought up a couple other players. They have the defensive side of the
Dante
ball.
Fowler.
Yeah, Fowler's over there too now.
Yeah.
Spoon, what do you think, man? Going into this game here, after we've seen us play week 1, and some time to look at ATL's game and whatnot, what jumps out at you? What do you think we got to go in here and isolate right away? What do you think?
Well, the issue is this, in my opinion. You got two.
Let's give me the game plan.
You got two hungry teams, right? Nobody wants to start 0-2. So I expect both these teams to come out and fight hard for that spot. What scares me about the Atlanta Falcons is that Julio Jones, 9 catches, 157 yards. Calvin Ridley, 9 catches, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Gage, 9 catches, $114.
Yeah, Gage Russell, their slot.
They average about between 14 and 17 yards per catch in this game, meaning that the corners are going to have their work cut out from. The safeties are going to have their work cut out from, especially if we get no pressure on Matty Ice. Now, I don't expect Matty Ice to run like Jared Goff and move like him, but end of the day, he knows these guys. He's been the quarterback for a long time. He went to this championship. He knows what to do in order to win this game. But see, we can't have our head in our asses again. And Mike Nolan needs to understand what's best for your team. You can't be too cute. So this is going to be a hard-fought game. I don't expect this game to be I know we're going to do a prediction score later. I'm not going to go out here and have no 42-14. This is a scary game. We lose this game, we're going to be in a hole.
Huh? Hole
A
indeed.
conference hole. A hole in our
conference. Yeah, conference. Not division, but conference. Right. 0-2 in the conference. Okay, Mary. As you had a chance to kind of see what they did, you've looked at what we've done. What do you think? What are some of what do we need to get off and get going on against these Falcons at home?
I mean, a lot of opposite of what we did this week, basically. I mean, I saw, as far as offense goes, I saw that this past week we ran like 4% pre-snap motion.
Last in the league.
I mean, that's way below even our low average from last year.
Right.
So, I mean, we've got to put our guys in the best position to succeed. We saw that, they can do it. We know they can do it. And it's just using them for what they have, using Dak's legs, using that RPO, using that play action. Especially knowing that, we're compromised on the O-line. You just got to try to switch stuff up way more.
Right.
And I think the offense is going to, like we said before, it's going to have to step up and carry the defense. They're going to have to. Julio traditionally gives us trouble. That's not something we're new to.
At all.
And the yards, they add up, but keep them out the end zone. The end.
Big facts.
Keep
Big facts.
Pressure, more sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I loved how, they kept jumping up, when he was throwing the ball, jumping up, trying to swat away the ball. We just got to disguise it more. We got to do some of that stuff we talked about in the off season. And like Spoonie said, not get cute. Stop trying to rotate too many guys in and out the whole time. Stick with your core until somebody gets tired or is like really getting beat and die on that hill.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody can just set the game up to how Zeke and Dak played week 1, I think we'd be fine, right? I think the biggest thing is definitely settle on something at the defensive tackle position. I think it's definitely Tristan Hill. Find somebody on the other side and let them get the majority of that. And then as they need to be, winded or they need to come out, okay, fair enough. Hey, look, we know this is a copycat league on the same token, guys. Period, point blank. I mean, I think Gibson earlier just brought that up. Was what I was going to bring up. It's a great point. Man, hey, look, they're going to look at that tape. They're going to try to do some of the same things that the Rams did against us because here's what we do know for sure. Here's the one thing ironclad from week 1. If you want to sit there and do 5 and 7 step dropbacks, your quarterback's in trouble with us. Yeah. That's for sure. Now we got to get these cornerbacks up a little bit, but like you said, Mary boy, it's Julio. It's that boy Julio, and we know what he's done to us in the past. I think we just got to be. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to both the middle of the lines, offensively and defensively. We just have to be better in the middle of both of those lines, and I think the rest of it will take care of itself. To be honest with you, it was just we got sliced up a little too much on the defense, and I mean, look, they don't have. Be clear, they don't have an Aaron Donald in Atlanta. Okay, they don't have it. Yeah, they don't have an Aaron Donald because Aaron Donald was wrecking shop. I don't care where they were putting him. He was wrecking shop. I mean, even Zach Martin and Tyron Smith had not the greatest of grades that are up to their standards even. We'll see what they do at right tackle this week and who ends up playing out there, but they're going to be still, they're going to do something else. But again, I think I liked a lot of it. I'm with you, Mary. Let's get a little bit more addressing. They talked about that last preseason. We talked about it this preseason. There's all this motion and stuff going on in training camp. And then the first 3 weeks, right, of last season, we saw that, and then it stopped, and it hasn't came back. So, yeah, we need to see a little bit more of that. We definitely, something I pounded to say we all have. What they were doing with not to say Goff is non-athletic. He's not Dak, though. And we know Dak throws the ball well on the run. If you have a bad offensive line, move the pocket.
Exactly.
A little misdirection. Get him some easy reads. Get him on the edge where, okay, it's not here. Let me go ahead and get 5, 6, 7, 8 yards real quick and get down. And do some of those things. We'll make Todd Gurley, at this point, they have to go into the game defense and say, okay, Todd Gurley has to beat us. And if Todd Gurley can beat us with a bad knee, then we'll just have to eat that and suck it up. It's kind of where I am there. But they got playmakers on defense on that side of the ball. Seattle did a good job. One thing I know, Seattle was able to get the deep ball rolling on them. Now, let's see if Dallas can kind of do the same thing. We know Dak can throw the ball well deeply. That'll be something interesting as well. Chop checking us in, need a new punter. Hey, man, he averaged almost 40, had 2 punts inside the 20. Give my boy Chris a little bit of a break.
We're not supposed to be punting that much.
We're supposed to be this WAP offense. We ain't punting. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
and I like this one. Sarah says, hey, man, I think we're going to see a different team Sunday. SCO, hey, man, we got to until this defense gets its footing right and we figure out the linebacker position. We have to get that side of the game rolling, And again, if your defense gives up, time of possession makes things look a little wonky. We gave up 20, but that time of possession was a beast. But even with that being said, if they only gave up 20, no matter what the time of possession is, you should still find a way to win the game, man. You just should.
And just like, you said this is a copycat league. I mean, it is copycat. We can copycat too. So let's just copycat. Like you said, Seattle was able to go downfield a lot. We got the weapons to do it. We know Dak can do it accurately. So copycat. They couldn't stop the downfield pass. And they let Russ was just, out there doing his thing, moving around and
man.
And what Mary said, also Jamal Adams, All-Pro safety, had a phenomenal game. So please, safety plays. I'm not saying you can repeat that, but you got to play your game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
we'll
see what Brandon Carr can do at safety now.
Because he's definitely gonna get some burns. Look, if you go now, the one thing, if you go dial up Thompson's tape and look at it, it's not good. Whether he's getting stiff armed, ran over into the end zone, just different things. He's small. It's just not good. And it made me wonder. In my head, I'm like, there's no way was this bad. But neither here nor there. Do y'all think that we got a question for Brian Johnson? Do y'all think we'll go 4 wide because of Jarwin out?
Hey,
I mean, can you block it up is the question. I mean, Brian, is where I'm at. Can you block it up? I wouldn't be mad to see some of those looks. Spoony, what you think? You like the idea of maybe going a little bit more 4 wide with Jarwin out now?
Yeah, listen, anytime you can spread it out and get these receivers one-on-one, I think these receivers could be anybody in the league one-on-one. Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, and also Cedric Wilson. So he's been the preseason hype right now. So I think any of these guys going 4 wide, we can do it.
Big facts. We got to argue. Look, guys, y'all are over here arguing about Chris Jones. That's the least of our worries right now. Thank you.
I mean,
worried.
Like I said, we shouldn't be punting anyway.
And of course, says Gurley can't beat you if you control the clock, which is very true. I mean, again, but I just think offensively, that's the way we need to go with the knee and see can he carry that team over the hump, if you will, in this game.
I mean, maybe the crowd noise will bother Matt Ryan.
We will have some crowd noise. That is true. We will have some crowd noise. And if you don't know, if y'all haven't seen floating around there, they have some voiceover work over on Julio Jones about them interviewing and losing the game. And he was talking about crowd noise with no crowd. There was, yeah, pretty funny. Pretty. Oh, yeah, Norton. So, yeah. Yeah, my guy, the GOAT, Heath. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know what you got till he's gone, huh? Talk about it. Talk about it. With that being said, Spoonie, you haven't smiled the whole time. Your head hasn't. Your head definitely hasn't moved. I think this is the most depressed in the 2 years plus of this show that I think me and Mayor have ever seen you. I hope you can get up here for the Spoonies minute. I literally hope everybody buckle up. I don't know. Spoon, the floor is yours, sir.
Excuse me.
Oh,
here we go.
Wouldn't like my black hair.
I love you, Jebby Jones. I love you. Been a big fan of you for a long time. I visited the stadium. I see how hard you have worked to give Cowboys fans something to appreciate. You always want to put the Cowboys on the map for every little thing. We have Cowboys on MTV, where we got Jesse Holly, as the fourth alarm. You put the Cowboys on the map. Jason Garrett's not here no more, so we can't blame him for anything anymore. He's on another team in the NFC East. But I will say this, Jerry. Mike McCarthy came out and said we have to get out the honeymoon phase. Well, here's a lot of things. Excuse my French, y'all. There's a lot of fucking going around still to this minute. And my issue is this, Jerry Jones. Stop selling us bullshit and sell your fucking soul like you used to do a long time ago.
All right.
We sit here and we got to listen to your poems every time you're on live air about getting better. Getting better. See, the old Jerry Jones understood about getting better. This Jerry Jones right here is having his hands under his ass on the lap. Just sitting there just spreading things out, poems, conversating. If you need a player, you get the player. You're experimenting with bullshit on the roster. See, the old Jerry Jones would have went out there and said, you know what, F everybody, I don't care. We got to get that position right. No, you want to stay there and get cute with it. And with that cuteness causes another loss, then you're going to make the move in the last freaking minute. Let's go back to last year.
Oh, goodness.
We're going with week 13. I don't know, was it Garrett? I don't know, was it Jerry Jones or Steven Jones? It was one of them. Let's start playing the players who deserve to be on the roster. Also, Witten gets benched when Jarvis should have been had the spot. So, again, see, I'm pissed off that this first game, it looked like a repeat of the bullshit us Cowboys fans suffered for the last 10 fucking years. Stop selling us bullshit and sell your fucking soul and get us the plays we need. Earl Thomas is out there. I don't give a shit who he fucking. There's nothing to do with the NFL.
All right.
Who I want him to fuck is the wide receivers that go in that middle. Who I want him to fuck is the interception when the ball
comes now.
That's what we care. Who the fuck?
Whoa!
Understand this, Jerry Jones. Whoa. You have nobody to blame anymore. And Mike McCarthy, let me explain something to you. If you don't know what it is to be a Dallas Cowboy and have a fucking star next to your name, go to YouTube, look at Jimmy Johnson, look at Parcells. Look at the coaches, how they coach. Look how they aggressive this honeymoon shit. We don't want to hear about that bullshit. We're tired of it. We are tired of it. So tired. Now, I understand first game. I understand that. We got a lot of things to go. We got a lot of ways to go. But here's the thing. You ain't acting like it. We go 0-2, then you want to go make a move? No, you make the move when it's necessary, when it's time, when it's there. You don't fucking wait, and that's what you're doing. Exactly what you're doing. Week 1, we should be on here right now celebrating SCO and 40 fucking burgers. We're here scratching our fucking heads with our thumbs or whatever. Oh, I don't know what happened with this, what happened with that. Kellen Moore, what's wrong with you? You wanted a chance, you got the fucking chance. What, you need preseason 2 to call the right fucking plays? You are an offensive coordinator. Look, you know what the fuck to do. Be one. Ooh. Now we're going to go to week 2, linebacker thin, tight end thin. I don't want to see shit. Breaking news, we're trading for this motherfucker here in week 3 and week 4 when we're in a hole. That's bullshit. Jerry Jones, you know, you remind me of Jerry Jones? You remind me of Austin Power. What was called Austin Power. He lost his mojo. That's what the fucking problem. You lost your mojo, Jerry Jones. You lost your mojo. Earl Thomas should not be scaring you to get him. Cameron, a trade for a tight end should not be scaring you to get from within. From within. You think these plays that we're mentioning, we're going to be happy about this? Do you actually think that they're in the fucking practice squad, they're going to come out and light a fucking show? The only show you're going to see is Cowboy Nation tearing your fucking ass. That's the only light your ass you're going to see. That's the only thing you're going to see. And here come week 3. Don't come making fucking moves and we 0-2. Let the shit fucking sail because you're failing. You're failing. You didn't get a quarterback signed for long-term deal. You didn't do that right. But you're on a fucking boat. You're on a yacht. All right? You're on a fucking yacht. Selling store. I ain't buying a motherfucking thing till I see how the fucking Cowboys get a fucking ring or believe in something. The only thing we believe in is your bullshit, and I'm tired of it.
Oh, well, all right. Okay.
Well.
I mean, that was a good, what, 5, 6, 7?
It was up there. He said, I mean, Spoonie, you will never work for Hallmark this way, my friend. Shout out to our guy, Mark Anthony. You know, lost in all the bombs and whatnot there. I mean, there's some truth there. There's some truth there. And I think for sure, and we're going to count it up, Norton, because it might have been right around 40. You might be right. It might be about 40 for the cuss jar. But I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna throw something out there, and I think Spoon hit on something underlining. And I'm gonna hit y'all with this, Cowboys Nation. You brought a guy in here who hasn't played the game of football in 5 years, right? And you got a whole bunch of players on this team, Pro Bowlers, All Pros. We think, you know, we've been told they're great, they're this, they're that, you know, whatever the case may be. Who popped out on the screen on the defense? Alden Smith. There's a lot to be said what Smitty just talked about there, low key. I'm going to do it not putting 40 in the cuss jar. Okay. But when you bring a guy that hasn't played the game in 5 years and he's popping off the screen nonstop, shouldn't the guy look? And y'all know I don't bag on D-Law. He's a complete guy. He does a lot of things well. You paid a guy $100 million in D-Law, right? Should a guy that's just came off the couch after 5 years look better than D-Law?
No.
Shouldn't you talk about D-Law like you talk about Mac? Like you talk about Aaron Donald? So on and so forth. I mean, there's some validity there, Spoon. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. I mean,
there with what Spoon is saying. Agree.
Listen, end of the day, Dontae Poe. I'm sorry, Dontae Poe. Another one. Listen, I appreciate the brother for his political stand and everything, but guess what? We're talking about football here. You are 350 fucking pounds. You are a big motherfucker. You stand in that middle and you locking from the damn. Play with some fucking attitude. It's a damn shame. You know what? I gotta eat crow for Tristan Hill. And I get BJ credit, Maddie credit, Cowboy Nation. That young man had key plays like he wanted to. Dontae Poe, Listen, I was very high when they drafted him. When they drafted him, I was very high on him when we bought him as a fatty, but you ain't playing like no fatty. You're not playing like a fatty. All right? You playing like you're 100 pounds, soaking wet sweat, piss. Get your ass in that middle and clog it up.
Yeah.
You got to be freaking kidding me. A long time ago, Jimmy Johnson would have cut him. I remember one of the wide receivers, Michael Irvin said the story that one receiver dropped a fucking pass in practice. He should have caught, he cut him. Mike McCarthy, understand what it is. Understand what it is. Stop pampering these guys. If you know Deontay, my God, BJ said it earlier. If Clinton Dix played that freaking bad and Thompson led the secondary with tackles with 9 and he played horrible, my God. And you got Earl Thomas out there and you're worrying about what? What? Because he smacked the teammate? Hey, at least he did something when something didn't go right. And Aldon Smith looking like the best player on our defense, and he's been out for 5 fucking years? 5 freaking years? Jalen Smith, the clear eye view? Use it!
Yeah, the eyes wasn't clear on Sunday. He was running around like a blind man.
You know, I mean, and another thing.
My Cowboys, but come on.
Yeah, and I mean, and another thing over here to Spoon's point, and Mendoza, I see you talking about. Well, he's a little bit more familiar with the system because of the coach and stuff. Effort is effort, though, my guy. At the end of the day, talking about that, we're seeing Aldon Smith, jumping off the board a little bit. I mean, he got the sack. I mean, I know the Cowboys put D-Law down to have 4. The Cowboys put down the D-Law had 4 QB pressures. But, I mean, Aldon got to the quarterback and hit him to force the interception. Look, getting there is not good enough anymore. Not when you're a $100 million guy. That's I'm sorry. Those are just it comes with a check, if you will. Now I love D-Law, but it comes with a check. And on the same, and then let me a little bit more validity to Spoon's point is safety is an issue. There's no getting around it. There's just not. It's an issue. We know it's an issue. They know it too because don't let them fool you. They've tried Earl Thomas for a 2nd-round pick, couldn't get him. Right? They tried for Jamal not once but twice. And they tried to go get Minka Fitzpatrick. Okay, so they've tried, and they went and signed Ha. You got Brandon Carter's going to come into play safety now. Fair enough, but but it's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid. Whenever there's a guy, look, and if you don't want to do Earl, that's fine. Go get Eric Reed. Go get Eric Reed.
He fears us. He fears us. That's the problem. Where's Jerry Jones Mojo at?
Well, see, I think, and a lot of fans, for what they talk about, how Jerry is super controlling and he doesn't, all his coaches are puppets and all of this stuff. I think he's deferring to the coaches on this. I think if 100%, if he was controlling, as some fans say, that we would have already had Earl. I 100% believe that. I think he's deferring to his coaches, and if the coaches, for whatever reason, they don't want him or they don't feel like they really need him, because everything we've heard has been they haven't really even tried to talk to him about it. So either they're lying about trying to talk to him and maybe there's something else. Maybe he wanted way too much money or there was some other issue, or they're actually telling the truth and they really didn't try. And if they really didn't try, then that means the coaches are saying, we don't want to deal with it.
And as Chop said,
I think Jerry would have done it.
Yeah. I mean, Chop's all in. He says, go get Snacks, ET, and Bray. Hey, look, I know 2 guys that want to play for the Cowboys right now for sure. One Snacks, and one is also Ronald Leary. It can't get no worse at left guard at this point, and they're not going to cost you a ton. What's the problem? Period. What's the problem? I mean, let's be clear. And here's the thing with that, though. I think they're ready for that discussion. You said they don't want the Eric Reed discussion. Hey, Poe took a knee. He took a knee. No problem. Jerry even spoke about it. I think we move past that. They can bring Eric Reed in here, and it's not going to be an issue. I don't think. No different an issue than bringing in Earl Thomas at this point. Either way. But like I said, Poe kneeled, Eric Reed coming in here, that's not going to be a problem. And again, you have to do something at safety. I'm sorry. Look, they don't want to play Donovan Wilson for whatever reason. It's bad. Yeah. Look, go look. If anyone has the all 22 tape, go dial it up. Darian Thompson is not I'm telling you, he's bad. It's bad.
He's not
it. Bad.
Yeah, he's not it.
I could go play safety better than him right now off the couch.
I mean, yeah, I might as well go out there. I mean,
might as well, Mary.
They're giving away checks. I mean, I'll take it.
I think. I mean, I had said the whole off season, and I understand I went a little nuts with it, but this is what I mean. You know, you got to go out there and get these players, man. And my thing is, we supposed to be the Dallas Cowboys, that rich tradition from the early '90s, where everybody wants to get all the stars. Now we're scared and timid about making moves. And my whole thing is this: is that we should if it's not Earl Thomas, you got a Jefferson out there. You do have an Eric Green. You got to upgrade that position. We're sitting here with the same guys. They still don't tackle.
Right.
And how bad?
And I mean, look, and I mean, at this point, this isn't Madden. I'm not going to sit here and tell you go get all these all pros, go make all these crazy trades. I'm not there, but I'm telling you, there's a short list of guys. Demarius Randall. Okay.
Yeah,
he's better than what we have. Eric Reed, Earl Thomas. There are guys that are go get. You know what? Rashad Jones at this point, as old as he is, bring him in. I promise you, he won't be that bad at this point. I didn't want Rashad because he was kind of old. Now I'm like, no, go give me Rashad Jones. It's bad at strong safety. It is bad. Now the tight end linebacker situation, y'all know. All y'all been listening a long time. Mary Sweet, y'all know. I've been banging that shit since after the draft. Now someone got me cussing. Here we go. I was banging for Alec Ogletree forever. Give me a 2-down linebacker that can play against the run. I ain't got to worry about him on third down. I'll get somebody else in there for coverage. I've been banging the table for a linebacker. Here we are. The tight end position, I'll be honest with y'all, man. The tight end position, I was excited for Blake Jarwin. On the same token, I'm okay in-house on that. I'll be honest with you right now. I'm okay. I'm okay in-house just because we have so many weapons and things that we can do. I don't think it hurts us. As long as we got a good tight end to block for us, I think we're okay. But on the same token, don't ask Dalton Schultz to go do something for us in the red zone. You know, let's be smart about how we're coaching the positions and what we're doing. But that linebacker spot and that safety spot is an issue. Schematically, we can get by for a little bit. I'm telling you now, we need a safety in the worst way. You know, we've kind of known this. We've kind of talked about this. I don't care who it is. They got to bring somebody or do something about it. And I mean, we'll wait and see on that front. But with all the money that Spoon has to pay, we want to donate that to somebody. Score, Spoon. What you got? Atlanta, noon, AT&T Stadium. Let's hear it. What you got?
Listen, last week I had said 42-14. You know, I was high in the sky with this team, but you know what? I'm coming back down to earth, and I don't like what I saw the first game. I really want this W more than anything. So I'm gonna play it safe and go 24-21 Dallas. Okay.
Now, of course, I know Mary doesn't like to give scores, but in your own way, Mary, what do you feel about this game here? What do you like?
I expect. I think Rush might have said it earlier, but I do expect there to be some changes. I expect the offense to pick it up at least, and hopefully the defense. You know, like we talked about before, that they keep in their solid rotation. Hopefully, Brandon Carr can make a difference. And I say it's going to be a close one as well. We look a little bit better, but still a little rusty. I agree with somewhere along the lines of what Spoonie said.
Yeah, I mean, last week, you know, I figured the offense was going to do good. I know the defense needed help. 35-27. Obviously, we lost 2017. I think Dallas will get it together. I'm going to have faith in this coaching staff to turn it around. This ain't what years the years have passed. I'm going to go with I'm going to go a little bit more. I'm going to go Dallas 27-21. I'm going to go Dallas 27-21 is where I'm going to be at. You know, the thing that really sucks about dropping this game, even though it wasn't a divisional game, after seeing the Giants lose, which we didn't expect much out of them, to see Philly lose in the way that they lost, you know, with a chance to really jump out ahead and have that game up in the conference and not be able to get that, man, super duper sucks. Let me get some of these. We got some people out here showing them up there. Mendoza saying 21-19 Cowboys. Donald Walker's got it ATL 31-28. The defense is trash. Only give up 20 points, Donald. We only give up 20, though. Keep it in mind. Mark Cantor going with 28-27 Cowboys. Nail biter.
Ooh, that will have
Nail
me
biter.
stressed out.
Rush, a little bit more faith than some of us. 35-17 Cowboys.
I like your positivity, Rush. I like it.
Rush a little bit more positive. A little bit more positive. That's all I said, conference game, not division. They lost one in the division. We won, but we would have been up in the conference if we would have beat the Rams. Conference, not division. But they took an L in the division. And, of course, we know we got 6 games in the division. You handle your work in the division. The rest of it plays up. But, man, if you got to lose a game, lose it to the AFC. Don't lose it in the NFC. And right here, right now, we know we got ATL and then next week.
Yeah.
Big game. Big game here. Big game here to go play.
Seattle right after.
Yeah, you got Seattle right after. So big game here to go play. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. With that being said, you can find us, obviously, Star Gang group, Star Gang page. Like and follow the page as well, as much as jump into the group. YouTube, Star Gang Podcast. Go follow, sub. We actually put the YouTube link in this cast tonight, so you can go ahead and hit that. Hit your notification buttons here, so you know when we are going live. You'll get that notification to come through and rock with your people. On Twitter, Spoonie, where they can find you?
At Spoonie881.
Boom. Mary, we tell y'all Mary's spicy over there. She says she's Twitter famous. She about to not know anybody. Where you at over there?
At Star Gang Beauty.
Boom. And, of course, my handle right there on the bottom, at @your_guy_Knicks. Follow us on Twitter as well. Maybe we'll get some signings, though, Spoon, and you can feel better. Just maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
Maybe.
As always. Okay. All right. Fair enough. As always, every single week during the year when we play on whether it's Sunday or Monday, you can catch us on Tuesdays, 8 o'clock Central here, wrapping up and